Hello everyone, my name is Konstantin and this is my assignment in Visual Basic 2010 in 2011. So, this is my basically this is my code with the comments in green, and the task was to create a program that will calculate employees' week wages based on data provided in a text file. So we have a text file like so, and we must calculate the week's wages. So this is our hours worked, this is our rate, that's obviously the name, and we must calculate the employees' wages and the maximal, minimal payment, average payment, like an overall data. As well, we must have a splash screen with a timer, calculate button disabled in the start, login form, stream reader used, and I even used the stream writer and stream reader like a couple of times. And the validation rule that rates and hours are correct. That's the validation rule highlighted. If hours are less or equals to 60 and rate is less and equals than 40, then you do your actual calculations. As you can see, it's all functions, procedures, and the functions, and so on. So in the end, we have like four functions and 3 procedures. Procedures I use to list the results. So let's just have a look at actual program. That's our splash screen, that's my title, was the copyright, and the actual username and the password are username and password. But let's say that we made a mistake or we don't know the password. Program won't let you in unless you give it a proper username and proper password, which are username and password. Calculate button is disabled at the very start, and you must read the note on the top, which is typed in a label, and click on that label to actually enable the calculate button. So straight away we do select our text file and see that another window appeared, another list box for an overall data like average, maximal, minimal. Try to remember these because they will change after we add 4 employees to this program, as we need to. So basically we have our headings, we have our names, we have our hours, our rates, and our payment calculated by a formula, which means that it's not all the time same formula. It's 3 different formulas, like over 40, if hours are over 40, if hours are over 50, and if hours are less than 40. So let's just add 4 employees. Let's say first one is Rory with 40 hours and 20 pay rate. 2 employee assignment. Yes, information has been added, is stated in the message box. So you know that the information has been added. So don't worry when your information actual on the form will disappear, because you know that it was added. So let's add Costa with a, let's say 50, 30. Information has been added. Let's add Sean. And what if somebody made a mistake? It typed in another 0, and it will add it to the actual text file. But later on in the calculations you will see how it will stop it from getting any further. So another name like John worked for 10 hours for a rate of 10. It's just for our, so you can see that the minimal is actually changed. And another like David work hours, well, let's say 55, why not? And the pay rate was 40. So it will change our maximal. So they all are added to the same text file, and as you can see, the clear button is disabled if there is nothing in the text boxes. Once something appeared, it's enabled, and it's procedure inside the clear button. So every time I press the clear button, procedure goes, and every time I press the add button, the same procedure as for a clear button is added to the add button, so it clears the text boxes. So that's how our procedures are handy. You can type in just one procedure and use it all over your program, all over your form, I mean. So let's exit it and check how does it works. And you see, if there is nothing in the list box and no calculations, our second list box disappears, and it reappears again if we have the overall data. As you can see, the shown work hours was over 100, and actually it shouldn't be even over 60. And the shown work hours pay rate is not calculated into the payment, and it won't affect our average, it won't affect our maximum, it won't affect our minimum. As you can see, the average changed, the maximal changed, the minimal changed, so the program works. The 4 employees was added, and what else? I think that's it. That's basically it, and you would probably like to know what problems did I have. Of course, I had problems. I did have problems with the maximal and minimal wages finding, because you have to find them inside the functions. And what I did, every time when I calculate a basic payment for each employee, I did add it to the text file which was inside the debug folder by the stream writer. And that text file only contained the lines with the payments. So when I needed to find a minimal or a maximal payment, I just read that file with the stream writer and find the maximal or a minimal in the 2 different functions, as you can see, because excuse me, I had that before, that code to find the biggest number and the smallest number with the maths function. So that's how I solved that problem. Another one, splash screen. You see, that's my splash screen form. It doesn't have no titles, no nothing, because when I did add the title to this, anyway, it did appear as a basic title when I did load my program. So what I did, I just get inside the code, and every time it loads, it will say that application title text will be equals to the wage calculator, and that's how I get around. It took me like 2 minutes or something like so. So it wasn't so hard, and I spent some time with the formats. But once you get the idea of it, that the first number is number of the column, another number is the number of characters between them, and the minus is just a line to the left. And that was basically it. Once you like change your numbers and see what's happening on the screen like a few times, you get your head around it, and it's not so hard. So, as I know, the actual report must contain the explanation of controls I use. So, the basic controls was used in this program like a list box, another list box, 4 buttons and 1 label. in this main form. So I choose to use the buttons because it's actually easier for a basic user to see that when the buttons are clicked, you know, that if he sees the button, he actually knows that you can click on it, rather than if you see the label, you just think that it's just a notice and you can only read it. But I could use the labels instead of buttons, but then nobody would actually know that you can click on labels, and unless you would tell them. So we don't make it too much complicated, just make it simple. Buttons, if you want to click them, you do buttons. If you want to list something, you do the list box. If you want like type something in, like a small name or something, you use a text box. If you want to choose an option like true or false, you use a tick box. It's just basic controls, you know. Another one things that I did use procedures. I did show you before. So these are my procedures, and these are my functions, which I use to calculate the minimal, maximal, and average, and even our basic payment. As you can see, I did use the validation rules to ensure that the program works properly. So that was the validation rule to calculate, as I said before. Another validation rule was inside the login form. If your login and password is not correct, it won't let you buy. Another one validation rule was inside the sub form, inside the add employee form, and it was if your text boxes are empty, it won't add the information to the text file, because actually there is nothing to add. And that's the 3 validation rules I used. Maybe there is one more or something that I couldn't remember straight away, but that's basically it. I showed you my program, I explained you my controls, I showed you the functions and procedures. I did have some mistakes and I point them out. You can see that the comments are used all over the place, and that's it. Thank you for your attention, and that's it. Bye.